Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's been a minute, a sweet loving minute. I've been away for 3 months. No, wait. I've been away for 103 days, 23 hours. That's how long I've been away, which is basically 3 months because there are 30 days in a month. Yeah. It's been 3 months. In a way, like I've been busy. Life has been playing me like a basketball, bouncing me up and down. It's been a long 3 months. I'm definitely going to do a catch-up video with you guys and just sit down and talk because I never do stuff like that, so you guys can know what I've been on. It's been heavy, loving. I've just been through up and down like basketball basically. But anyway, long enough of the introduction because I'm probably filming this video for the 4th time. That's how unbalanced I've been. That's how things have been with me. I really hope I can get this video up because it's just that one video to go up for me to just get back into the routine of making YouTube like my job again, like something I do, right? So I really hope that I find the strength to just post this video, edit and post this video because 3 months is a long time. Like waiting now, it's a long time. But anyway, welcome back to my channel. Of course, like you've seen from the title and thumbnail, we are filming another crochet tutorial because what better way for me to come back, because I've been starving you guys for so long. Like I go through my comments and the questions are like, when are we getting a new video? I've been starving you all, and it's winter. Like this is the time that I really need to show up for you all. So sorry, I really apologize for how long it's been. But yeah, we are going to make another sweater because it's winter. You need these. These are the things that are going to keep you warm throughout this winter because the weather is not joking. I have worked on the panel, the pieces for a bit. I think I started on Wednesday and it's now Friday, by the way. So I have worked on a few of the pieces. I just have to do the rest of it, but no worries, I'm definitely going to take you guys through the process. If I have to refilm these, I don't mind. But this is just the easiest way for me to get myself to finish a project, just because filming the entire process is kind of not my best part, if it makes sense. So I have to like work on the pieces out before I start filming, then I have an idea of what the project is going to be like. But yeah, let's get right into the tutorial. We are going to start with the back panel, which is just a basic half double crochet stitch depending on the length you're going for. Mine is a crop sweater, but you can make this sweater as long or as short as you want to. Girl, it's up to you, do whatever you want to do. But we're going to start with the back panel, which I'll show you guys in the next clip. And after the back panel, we are going to go right into the front panel, which is a little bit different from the back panel because the back panel is basically going to be a rectangle, which is like your length and then the breadth. There is no increasing or decreasing, while the front panel is going to have something a little bit different because of the neckline, which I'll show you guys in the next clip, in this clip coming after this clip. Yeah. And then afterwards we are going to work on the sleeves. The entire panel is made with half double crochet and single crochet, and I did use a medium weight yarn, 3mm and a 1.9mm. You guys will see later why I did choose a 1.9, but you can use any size hook that is a bit smaller than 3.5, but I'll suggest you use 2. That was what I wanted to use, but for some reason I just couldn't find my 2mm crochet hook, so I had to stick to what I could find. A measurement tape, of course, because you're going to be needing some few measurements. And yeah, that's it. Let's get right into the video. Panel, again, like I said, it's just a basic triangle that is going to be the length of your sweater and the breadth of your sweater. So let me take my measurement so you guys can have an idea of how long mine is, because again, like I mentioned, mine is a crop top, so you can see that the length is currently 12.5, but because we did a half double crochet, this is very stretchy. So it's basically, the original length was 15 inches, but because obviously this shrinkies. I can't even talk. It shrinks a bit, so it does shrink up to all the way to 12 inches, but the original length that I wanted to go for was 15 inches. And then for the breadth, I did add a little bit of extra measurement to it because I want mine to be a bit oversized. So my original bust measurement is 36 inches, and when you divide that, that will give you a total of 18. So right here you can see that it's 18.5 inches, but again, this is a half double crochet stitch and pattern, so it stretches all the way, so keep that in mind as well. So let's get started with the back panel. Grab my yarn and make a slip knot, and I did chain a total of 61 chain, so basically 60 plus 1, which is going to be the turning chain for this entire project. So this is the amount of chain that I am chaining for my desired length, but of course if you want yours to be longer, then go ahead and add more chains, and if you want yours to be shorter, of course you can do you're basically just going to chain how long you want your sweater to be. Take your measurement and do the needful, just chain any amount. So from here on, we are going to get started with the first row, and of course, like I mentioned, this is going to be a half double crochet. So we are going to yarn over, skip this first stitch, which is basically the 61, like the one extra way chained because of the starting chain, and you're going to go into the second stitch with your half double crochet. And half double crochet is basically yarn over, insert your crochet hook into the second stitch, pull through. Now you have 3 loops. You're going to yarn over and pull through the last 3 loops. Again, yarn over, insert your crochet hook into the next stitch in this case, and you're going to grab your yarn and pull through. Now you have 3 loops. You're going to grab your yarn and pull through. Grab your yarn and pull through all 3 loops. You're going to grab your yarn, insert your yarn into the stitch, grab your yarn and pull through, yarn over and pull through all 3 of the loops. Guys, that really sounded like a tongue twister, and I'm going to basically repeat this until I get to the very end, and at the end I should have a total of 60 half double crochet. And again, because if you're a beginner, then you have to make sure you use a stitch marker so you have an idea of where you start and where you end, or just count your stitches just to be safe. You're going to repeat this up until the very end, so I'm going to do that, and then I'll see you guys at the very end. See, I'm coming to the end of the row, and I'm just going to make sure I insert 1 half double crochet into each and every chain, because I want to make sure I maintain my 60 chains and 60 half double crochet by the end of the row. So this is what we have so far. To get started with the next row, we are going to chain 1 and turn, and now we are going to start working in the back loop. And for the back loop, these are basically, if you slightly turn your stitch or your half double crochet from the previous row, you can see 2 loops right here, which is 1 and 2. The front one is your front loop and the back one is your back loop. So we are going to work into the back loop, and the back loop is basically going to give you the stretch and the kind of texture we're going for, basically for the sweater. So to do that, after chaining 1, you're going to look for your first stitch, which is basically the last one from the previous row. You're going to make sure you have to turn your piece a bit, your first, and then you're going to go right into that back loop with your first half double crochet right there. So again, 3 loops. You're going to grab your yarn and pull through all 3, yarn over, look for the next back loop from the next stitch, insert your crochet hook right into that back loop, pull through, yarn over and pull through all 3, and you're going to repeat this until you get to the very end of the row. Again, at the end of the row, you should have a total of 60 half double crochet at the end of row 2. And from here on, you're basically going to chain 1 at the beginning of each row. You're going to go ahead and do 1 half double crochet in each stitch from the previous row and in the back loop. Don't forget to make sure you insert your crochet, your stitch into the back loop of each row, and you're going to repeat this until you have your desired measurement. And with that, you are going to just divide your bust measurement. If you want yours to be a fitted, then go for your exact measurement, but if you want it to be a bit loose like mine, then you probably will add 1 or 2 more stitches to it. So I did a total of 56 rows for my measurement. So I'm going to repeat this until I get everything, and then I'll come back, because then we have to get started with the front panel. Panel has a slight difference from the back, because we definitely have to give it a different neckline. That is optional depending on the neckline you want to go for. I am going for a round neckline. You can make this like a pullover or even a V neckline, whatever you want to go for. So for that, I am basically going to chain the same amount that I did for the back panel, but instead of like doing a total of 56 rows with no increasing or decreasing, I am going to, however, decrease a bit and increase, just to basically balance off each side of the front panel, because again, like I said, I did a total of 56. So you want to make sure you divide the amount of rows you did for the back panel into 2, and then you're going to decide how much of increasing and how much of decreasing you need to do. So again, you're going to have your shoulder, and then you're going to decrease right around this area, and then some rows of no decreasing, and of course, because you decreased, you're going to increase, and then you're going to continue the remaining rows. So in my case, I am going to do a total of 18 rows with no increasing and decreasing before I start decreasing for the neckline. So I'm going to do 18 rows of no decreasing. Right here I have my 18 rows complete, and now I'm going to go ahead and decrease like I mentioned earlier. So this is a 5 inches, 5.5 inches. So now I'm going to go ahead and decrease like I mentioned earlier for row 19. I'm going to do this for 5 rows, so up till row 20. And for my decrease row, I'm not going to chain anything, because I'm going to decrease on this side of the panel, while this side is just going to be without no decreasing. This is basically going to be the same chain one at the end, and then when you come up, then you repeat the same. So because I'm going to decreasing, I will not be chaining anything. I am just going to go into the second stitch, sorry. So I'm going to skip the first, yarn over, and into the second stitch I'm going to go again into the back loop with my first half double crochet, and this basically just decrease 1 stitch. So at the end of row 19, I should have a total of 59 half double crochet instead of 60 half double crochet. So I'm going to repeat this until I get to the very end of the row. 20, I'm going to chain 1 again, because we are not decreasing on this side and we are only decreasing on the opposite side. So I'm going to chain 1 and turn and go into that first stitch with a half double crochet into the back loop, and of course repeat 1 half double crochet until I get to the very top, where I'm going to go ahead and do my second decrease. So we're basically going to decrease 5 times. So at the end of our decreasing, we should have a total of 55 stitch. So you can count your stitch if that really helps you with decreasing, making sure you only decreasing 1 stitch on every row, or just use a stitch marker to mark your stitches as well. But I am the most lazy person with stitch markers, so this is how I do stuff. So I'm just going to do 1 half double crochet up until the very end. Coming to the end of row 20, I have 3 more stitches, so I'm going to go into my 3rd stitch in the set of 3. So right here I have 2 more stitches. So to decrease, I'm going to make sure I attach these 2 stitches together, so which is basically going to decrease 2 stitches together. So for that, I just yarn over, insert my crochet hook into the first back loop, and then I go into the next back loop instead of yarning over. And then now I'm just going to grab my yarn and pull through the first 2 loops Right here I have 3, and I'm just going to yarn over and pull through the last three loops, which is basically half double crochet decrease as well. So because we are going to decrease again for the 3rd time, we are not going to chain anything. I'm just going to turn around and skip the 1st stitch and go into the 2nd stitch with my 1st half double crochet, and repeat 1 half double crochet up until the very end. And this is what I'm going to repeat up until row 23. So I will be doing a total of 8 rows of decrease instead of 5, because I feel like with 5 then this is going to be a bit too long, and it's not that long on my body. So in case, instead of dividing the remaining 10 into 5, I'm going to do 8 rows of decrease and then remaining 3 rows of no decreasing, which means we are going to do 18 rows of no decreasing, which we already did, 8 rows of decrease, 3 rows of no decrease, another 3 rows of no decrease, 8 rows of increase, and another 18 rows of no increasing and decreasing. I hope you guys understand what I mean, but that's what I'm going to end up doing. So right here I have my rows. I have 18 rows of no increasing or no decreasing, 8 rows of decreasing and increasing, and I did 6 rows, which is basically 3 that goes with this, and then the remaining 3 rows again. So now we are going to go ahead and increase for 8 rows so we can balance out this neckline. So we are going to increase just the way we decreased, and then another remaining rows of no increasing and decreasing. So from here on, because we are going to increase on the side, so I'm going to go ahead and chain 1 just the way we would start any row, and turn, and right here into this 1st half double crochet I'm going to yarn over and go into the back loop with my 1st stitch. And to increase, what you're going to do, you're going to go into that same stitch with another half double crochet, and that's basically 2 half double crochet into that same stitch, and I'm going to repeat 1 half double crochet into each row. So you're just going to increase on that 1st stitch, sorry, and then for the rest of the stitch you're just basically doing 1 half double crochet until the very end. And when you get to the end, you're going to chain 1 and turn, and when you're coming up for the next row, you're going to make sure you put 2 half double crochet into that last stitch, which is basically the 1st stitch from the previous row. So I'm going to do this for a total of 80 rows, so I should have a total of 60 stitch before I can stop decreasing, because that's what, because before I can stop increasing, sorry, because that's what we had at the beginning of the panel. So hey guys, so this is what the front panel looks like when it's complete. You can see that it gives you the round neckline that I am going for. So now I'm just going to grab my back panel, because we are going to attach these two together, and obviously the attachment process is super easy. You just want to make sure you lay both of them flat on a surface, whatever you're using. You want to make sure you lay them flat, and then from there you're going to just where you stopped, so just where the decreasing starts is where you're going to, basically row 18th is where you're going to attach your yarn and single crochet to the end. And of course you're going to do the same thing on the opposite side, attach your yarn and single. You can actually see where the neckline ends, and you're going to attach and go all the way, attach and go all the way. And when you have that done, you can decide how wide you want the armhole to be, and as the same way you're just going to decide how wide, and then attach all the way to the edge, and do the same thing on the opposite side as well. So right here we have the front and the back panel attached together. I wanted to put this on so I can have an idea of what we are working with, but at the same time I don't want to, because I want to see what everything looks like once it's complete, with the sleeve, the neck, everything else complete. So I can have like a shocking, well, not really a shocking reveal, because I kind of already have a picture of what it looks like in my head, but still I'm not going to put this on. I'm just going to fold this and move it to the side, grab my 3.5, and now we are going to go into the 2mm. I would suggest you use a 2mm because I think it's way more easier to find than a 1.9mm, but for some reason I cannot find mine. So if you're in the same situation where you don't have your 2mm with you, then just go a size lower. It's fine. Even a 2.5 would do, but a 2 is perfect. So this is the sleeve sample. You guys can see that when it's, bless me, you can see that it also works with half double crochet, but there is a slight difference because right underneath we have a single crochet row going on down, and then we work our way up with half double crochet. And this is my, basically this is going to go around my sleeve, my arm, like this, like this, like this, like this, like this. This is what it looks like. Oh, of course, for the sleeve you're going to be needing your sleeve measurement. I would suggest, because we did use a half double crochet and the shoulder part was a bit wide, that means the panel is going to go all the way to your shoulders, so I'll suggest you put the panel on. But again, like I mentioned earlier, I don't want to put mine on because I want to be, I don't know what's the word, I just don't want to put mine on, and I kind of have an idea of how the shoulder looks already, so I don't have to put it on. So you're just going to basically take your shoulder measurement, and then that is going to be the length, which means that's going to be the amount of chain you will be chaining for your sleeve. I chained a total of 90, but again, that's my sleeve length. It might probably be the same amount for most people because I don't really think there's much difference between how long. But yeah, if you have long arms, then you probably will be needing more. But if you, I chained a total of 90, so again, you're going to start with your 3.5mm, and for that you're going to grab your yarn and chain a total of 91, because the one is going to be a turning chain. So after chaining a total of 91, this is how long my chain is. Let me take a measurement so you guys have an idea of the exact measurement. It is a total of 24 inches when it's stretched, but obviously when it's not stretched, it probably is going to be about 21.5 inches. So now from here on, we are going to go ahead and go into the second chain. So basically the pattern is worked with half double crochet just like the front and the back panel, but the only difference is we are going to switch to a 1.9mm for the last 20 rows. So again, I chained a total of 90, which means with my 3.5 I'm going to go into the first 70 stitch with half double crochet like I did for the front and back panel, and the remaining 20 stitch I am going to go ahead and switch my crochet hook to the 1.9 in my case, and I'm going to do that with the remaining 20 rows with a single crochet instead of a half double crochet. So now I'm just going to work my 70 stitch, and then I'll see you guys at the very end before I switch my crochet hook to a 1.9. So right here I have my 70 half double crochet with my 3.5. So now I'm going to switch to the smaller size, which is my 1.9, and now we are going to continue the remaining 20 chains with a single crochet. So for a single crochet, you're going to go into the stitch. Let me see if I can come up close so you guys can have an, you're going to go into this next stitch. Remember, with the half double crochet you yarn over, but with a single crochet you're going directly into the stitch. You're going to grab your yarn and pull through. You have 2 loops. You're going to grab your yarn and pull through the remaining 2 loops. So again, you're going to insert your crochet hook into the next stitch, grab your yarn and pull through, yarn over, pull through all 2. For the last time, you're going to go into the stitch, grab your yarn and pull through, yarn over, grab your yarn and pull through. And this is what I'm going to repeat until the end of the row. So you can use a stitch marker and mark your first single crochet or your last stitch, but I think you can also see the difference between the after book crochet and the single crochet. You can actually see the difference, but just to be clear, if you want a clarity, then just use a stitch marker. But again, I have none. I don't have any stitch marker with me, and I just don't have the patience to take it off, and whenever I get to that point then put it back on. It's just not my thing. So I'm just going to repeat one single crochet until I get to the very end of the row. So right there at the end of the row, I finished my last single crochet. So you want to make sure you keep the same amount of chains, which is basically 90. So 20 single crochets and 70 after book crochets. So to get started with the next row, of course we are still going to use the 1.9 because we are working at this side of the panel. So you're going to chain 1 and turn, and just the same way we've been working, we are going to go into the back loop of each stitch with a single crochet for the next 20 stitch. So I'm just going to go into that back loop with a single crochet, and I'm going to do that for the next 19 stitch. You can also count your stitches, that way you find it easier in case you don't want to use a stitch marker. I do that also instead of just using the stitch marker. So right there I have my 20 stitch. So I'm going to go ahead and switch to my 3.5 again, and then I'm just going to continue with my after book crochet from here on and to the back loop until I get to the very end. Finally, so that is what I'm going to repeat until I get my desired sleeve length, width, sorry. So until this is wide enough to go around my arm area. And in my case, because I think I'm going to go for 8.5 inches, so I'm just going to, 8.5 inches times 2, which is basically 17 inches. So in my case it's going to be 17 inches. So I'm going to repeat that, and then I'll come back and show you guys. Obviously you have to repeat that for 2 sleeves because you have 2 arms, and then we'll come back together and attach both of the sleeves to the back and the front panel. Hey guys, good morning. So it's actually 2 days after. That's why my hair is different, because but anyway, it's 2 days after. I was supposed to complete the sleeves yesterday, which I did work on, don't get me wrong, I did, but I was editing at the same time. And because I'm editing on the laptop now, I used to edit all my videos on my iPhone 13, I used to edit all my videos on my iPhone 12. So because now I am editing on a laptop, I am super slow. Like, I'm still trying to figure out how everything works on a laptop. So I've been editing bit by bit every single day so I can get the video up on Sunday or Monday, which is basically today or tomorrow. So right here I have all the stitches, all the panel complete. I have the sleeve complete, and of course now we are going to go ahead and attach these two to the back and front panel. So I'm going to turn this outside back to the same area because this is where we are going to attach the sleeve, and the sleeve is still open. I haven't like attached both of them together yet. So the sleeve is still open. So what I usually do is just grab the sleeve and make sure I insert the edge of it, because this is obviously going to be around the wrist, and I'm going to attach this inwards. And you want to make sure that the open area, because this is where you're going to attach both ends of the sleeve together, is actually at the edge of the top and not at the top of the sweater. At the edge of the sweater, not at the top of the sweater. So I'm just going to make sure I line this two edge together grab this inside. I just basically just align it well, and this is what we have. So we have this, the sleeve, and then we have the armhole. So for the attachment, I'm still going to use the 3.5 millimeter. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab one side of the sleeve, one edge of the sleeve. I'm going to attach, let's zoom in. So I'm going to attach my yarn on the seam, around the seam area, grab my yarn and make a slip knot, just so I can attach the yarn to the project. And I just go ahead and make a double knot so it's secure. And from here on, I'm just going to go ahead and attach the yarn to the sleeve. I hope you guys have an idea of what I'm doing. There's really no easy way for me to explain this, but you can see that the sleeve is inside and this is one side while this is the opposite side. So from here on, I'm just going to go ahead and single crochet the sleeve onto the panel. So basically you're just going to go ahead and grab a stitch from the panel and grab a stitch from the sleeve and single crochet both together, and that's what I'm going to do all around the sleeve area. But you can obviously do this attachment however you're used to. You don't have to use this pattern that I'm going for right now. This is just the most comfortable way for me to get it done. So right here I'm coming to the edge. You can see that I have finished all the spaces. I basically have everything single crocheted. Well, not everything because the sleeve is still open, but I'm just going to go around into the last few spaces that I have left just to make sure it's actually secured, and before I can start attaching those two ends of the sleeve together. So this is what it looks like, and you guys can see the seam around this area. So I'm just gonna go inside and grab the sleeve, because remember we did attach the sleeve inside. So this is what it looks like right now. You can see the seam area, and then we have the sleeve open. So this is the reason why I attach it inside. So now I'm just going to go down and then attach the sleeves together, so it just makes everything one together. It just makes it easy for me to just attach everything as I go. So now from here on, I'm not going to do anything different. I'm just going to go ahead and come down with the same slip stitch single crochet pattern. Whatever you're doing, that's the same thing you're going to do. So now you're going to see that the seam is basically this end and then this way, which is super easy and makes everything easy for you. So this is what I'm going to do, and of course I'm going to repeat this and attach this opposite sleeve of the sweater to it, and then I'll come back and show you guys what it looks like.